everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Hollyoaks Dilly Harcourt is set to go missing next week after finding out the truth about Ethan Williams' death. At the end of last year, it was revealed that Sienna pushed her new husband off the balcony to his death, but Jess persuaded her not to hand herself in, and they kept the secret to themselves. Elsewhere, Zoe recently caught her fiancé Prince kissing his ex Dilly. They both promised that it was a mistake, but this week's episodes might suggest that there is unfinished business between the pair. In scenes that will air next week, Prince spends a night at Dilly's as the pair continue an affair, and afterwards he makes an excuse to Zoe. But Prince gets a huge surprise when Zoe tells him that she has booked the registry office for them to get married later that day. Zoe's big decision is out of the blue and leaves Prince concerned. Has she found out about his affair, and does she plan to show him up in style? Dilly is also confused when she finds out about Prince and Zoe's plans. Sienna isn't pleased about what Dilly is doing, knowing that her actions are breaking up a family. When she confronts Dilly about the situation, a heated argument breaks out between the pair, as they exchange insults about the other's past relationships. Sienna is hurt by Dilly's words, and in the heat of the moment accidentally spills that she was the one who killed Ethan. Naturally, Dilly is shocked by this revelation, and she runs off. She has had enough of the Blakes and their drama, so decides to pack her bags and leave the village for good. But before this, she tells Jez that Sienna confessed to killing Ethan, unaware that he already knows. Meanwhile, Marie helps Martha when she realizes she is confused in the newly opened hutch. But when Martha hears Jez's name, she becomes even more agitated. Later, Prince is worried about Dilly's whereabouts, and he asks Jez and Sienna where she is. Jez makes it clear that she doesn't want to be found and urges him to move on. Jez needs a distraction following the dramatic events of the week, and so heads to the McQueens, where things get steamy between him and boyfriend John Paul. But back at the Blakes, dark family secrets emerge and the past begins to affect the future. With Sienna's twin daughter also returning to the village, what is in store for the family? The sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows across the Chester village as secrets threatened to spill into the open. At the heart of it all stood Dilly Harcourt, her designer heels clicking against the cobbled streets as she stormed out of the Dog in the Pond pub, her face pale with shock. Tonight, everything had changed. Earlier that evening, the Harcourt family gathered at their sprawling estate, tension already simmering in the air. Dilly had been oblivious to the undercurrents, busy scrolling through social media and sipping a martini. Her father, the formidable Victor Harcourt, was unusually quiet, his sharp gaze flitting between family members. Meanwhile, her brother Ethan was pacing the room, his nerves fraying with every step. Dilly had always been the family's wild card, glamorous, headstrong, and unafraid to speak her mind. But even she couldn't have predicted the bombshell that would soon rock her world. As the evening wore on, the family's arguments reached a fever pitch, culminating in Victor's shocking confession. The fire at the warehouse wasn't an accident. I'm responsible for the man who died. A stunned silence fell over the room. Dilly's glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the marble floor. "You what?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Victor's admission was like a dagger to the heart. The warehouse fire had been the talk of the village for months, its mysterious origins leaving residents speculating. But now the truth was out. Victor had orchestrated the blaze to cover up a botched deal, never intending for anyone to get hurt. The victim, an innocent delivery driver named Gareth, had simply been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ethan exploded in anger, accusing Victor of dragging their family's name through the mud. But it was Dilly who felt the betrayal most acutely. Victor had always been her rock, the man she'd looked up to despite his flaws. Now that image lay in ruins. Unable to face the gravity of her father's actions, Dilly fled the house. She wandered aimlessly through the village, her mind racing. Every friendly face she passed on the street felt like a judgmental glare. She ended up at the dog in the pond, seeking solace in a place where no one would expect her to go. But even there, the weight of her family's dark secret pressed down on her. Back at the Harcourt estate, chaos reigned. Victor tried to justify his actions, but Ethan wasn't having any of it. "Do you even realize what you've done?" he shouted. "Dilly's out there, alone, with this on her shoulders. Who knows what she'll do?" Victor's expression darkened. "She's a Harcourt. She'll pull herself together." But Ethan knew his sister better than that. Despite her strong facade, Dilly was deeply sensitive, and this revelation had cut her to the core. "I'm going to find her," he declared, grabbing his coat and storming out. Hours passed, and Dilly still hadn't returned. Concern grew among those who knew her. Even Maxime Miniver, who had a complicated history with the Harcourts, couldn't ignore her gut feeling that something was wrong. "Have you checked the docks?" she suggested to Ethan when he stopped by the Love Boat, desperate for leads. Meanwhile, Dilly's disappearance had caught the attention of the village's resident troublemaker, Warren Fox. Ever the opportunist, Warren saw the Harcourt scandal as a chance to gain leverage. If Dilly knew more about her father's misdeeds, Warren intended to find out and use it to his advantage. As the night deepened, Dilly found herself at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. The same warehouse where the fatal fire had occurred. Drawn by a mix of morbid curiosity and a need for closure, she wandered through the charred remains, her designer coat doing little to shield her from the cold. Unbeknownst to Dilly, she wasn't alone. A shadowy figure lurked in the darkness, watching her every move. It wasn't Warren, as some might have suspected, but someone far more unexpected, Gareth's brother Donnie. Donnie had been obsessively investigating his brother's death, convinced that there was more to the story than the police had let on. When he spotted Dilly near the warehouse, he saw an opportunity to finally get answers. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, stepping into the light. Dilly froze, startled by his sudden appearance. I needed to see it for myself," she admitted. "I didn't know your brother, but I'm so sorry for what happened to him." Donnie's expression hardened. "Sorry won't bring him back. But maybe you can tell me what really happened that night." Before Dilly could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed through the warehouse. Warren had arrived, having tracked Dilly down with his usual resourcefulness. Spotting Donnie, he smirked. "Well, isn't this a cozy little gathering?" Dilly's heart raced as the situation spiraled out of control. Warren wasted no time in trying to manipulate her. "Your dad's secret won't stay buried for long," he taunted. "But if you're smart, you'll help me make sure it's worth something when it comes out." Feeling cornered, Dilly made a snap decision. She darted past both men and into the night, determined to disappear before anyone else could use her family's scandal against her. By the time Ethan and Maxine arrived at the warehouse, she was long gone, leaving behind only her discarded coat as a clue. The following days saw the village abuzz with speculation about Dilly's whereabouts. Victor tried to downplay the situation, insisting that his daughter would return when she was ready. But Ethan wasn't so sure. What if something's happened to her? He fretted, his guilt mounting. Meanwhile, Dilly's disappearance only deepened the mystery surrounding the Harcourts. As Donnie and Warren continued their own investigations, they uncovered more troubling details about Victor's business dealings, suggesting that Gareth's death might be just the tip of the iceberg. For Dilly, the days turned into weeks as she stayed hidden, grappling with the weight of her father's crimes and her own conflicted emotions. She knew she couldn't stay away forever, but returning to Chester meant facing not only her family, but also the dangerous forces circling them. When Dilly finally reappeared, it wasn't in the way anyone expected. She strode into the village square during a bustling market day, her head held high but her eyes filled with resolve. In her hand was a folder containing evidence that could either save her family or destroy them completely. "I have something to say," she announced, her voice cutting through the chatter. As the villagers gathered around, Dilly prepared to reveal the truth, not just about the fire, but about the tangled web of lies that had ensnared the Harcourts. In Hollyoaks, secrets never stay hidden for long. And for Dilly Harcourt, her decision to step into the light would change everything. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Hollyoaks Update YouTube channel for more update news.